everything is harder, and at the same time, everything is more exciting. There are obviously certain jobs that are jobs, whether it's manual labor or something like that that's very repetitive. Those kind of jobs will continue to exist, and they really aren't going to change a lot. Professional positions are going to change. I mean, we are dealing with an explosion of information and technology in all facets of all careers, whether it's engineering, the legal field, medicine, journalism. It is all going through the roof. So it's a matter of taking advantage of that technology and using that technology to tell a story. And it's a grand opportunity for somebody to learn different ways of doing things, and then make a decision on their own as to what works best for them and what methods are they good at, and go from there.
Well, it's chaotic. It's the landscape is so fragmented and varied. I think that there are places where communities arise that work well for particular times and places, but those communities tend to be shorter lived, in my experience, than what you may have had before. When you were living in a dorm 20 years ago, that was your community. You know, you had friends that you may have gone to school with or something. That was your community. Now they seem much more dispersed to me. That geography is no longer the arbiter that it once was of relationships. So, you know, I think that all of that tends to create communities that are perhaps freed from geography, but much more fragile. So I don't know. I'm not the age of the traditional student. So I don't know how effectively these relationships work. My experience has been that they're much more peripheral than the kinds of relationships, the face-to-face relationships that I prefer. That doesn't mean that I'm arguing that they're somehow inherently not worth it. They're just a very different kind of relationship than the ones that I would normally enter into.
From the people that I've talked to in the industry, I've gone to a couple of events at the Dispatch, and one of our advisors here his name is Leonardo Carrizo, and he is a multimedia, or he used to take photos for the Dispatch, and so he's been around down there, and he says that experience of a video camera and photo and all of that stuff will go so far in a job interview. If they have two equal candidates, but one has the ability to take their own photos and get video and audio, every time that person will get it, because that's just the direction. Now if you look, even Channel 4 is making their video, or making their reporters take their own B-roll, which is never was thought of 10 years ago. So that's really just the direction, is, especially with the economy as well, just cost cutting and efficient.
My class, Humanities College 450, writing in digital media, writing in new media. I think the thing that excites me the most is the potential for us to use easy-to-use technology and quality equipment. One of the things that I've, sort of shied away from because I'm lucky to be at OSU is I don't like working with the really low-end stuff that I started out working with. I mean, my first digital camera, however many years ago that was, at least 10 or years ago, was, like I don't know, 2 megapixel, 1.4 megapixel or something like that. Terrible pictures. And, you can use something like that to create the stuff, but it's not, I don't think that it has the kind of staying power that better production that we can do now for not a whole lot of more money will bring you. And that's why I think something like a digital media production space is a really valuable experience for students, and something that would be a great add-on for students to get to use some of the nicer stuff. So that's what I find most interesting, is moving forward into areas that create artifacts that really shine and really look good. Now, that is based on the faulty premise to some extent that the content is really going to shine, because the content is often a big area of difficulty. It's getting that content that should be the basis of the class. However, having really good media behind it aids, I think, in helping people create better content.
There are a few people that really do enjoy it, and they also know this is the future of journalism, so they need to know, hey, I need to build a portfolio, doing multimedia projects. I need to do this because when I go to a job interview and they say, hey, have you ever used a video camera? I don't want to sit there and be scared. I want to be confident and say, yeah, and I can use Premiere Elements and I can do everything else.
I think that the thing that we have to think about is that each newspaper, each type of newspaper is unique. Daily, major metropolitan daily newspapers are unique, are different than the campus daily newspaper. This is like a little community that much similar to a Dublin or a Worthington or an Upper Arlington, and there is news happening within this community that this community is specifically interested in. And unless somebody else has a way of delivering that news, this newspaper will continue to be successful within this community. We have ways of finding other national news, not just out of the New York Times or the Washington Post or USA Today. We have an opportunity to get that news a number of different ways, and as long as we look at each community and each area that the newspaper serves or a medium serves, then they may have different delivery mechanisms. It may be online, it may be a printed page, it may be strictly video, it may be broadcast television. Who's to say how given segments are delivered? But as I mentioned, students read the Lantern, and for some reason that particular delivery mechanism still works. The printed page, delivered, pick it up on the way to class, before class, after class, seems to work, at least with this particular audience. So that's unique in itself. The daily newspaper is unique in itself. National newspapers are unique in themselves.